which Keith's unresponsive form had been borne away through the foyer of the Century Canyon Hotel to the waiting ambulance, he had had every room occupied by members of the band and their entourage cleared of questionable paraphernalia, settled the extensive tab, appeared personally on the local radio station, issued a wholly misleading statement to the Boulder Chronicle, and offered Carrie Ann, his executive assistant, $2,000 plus expenses to stay in Colorado for as long as it took to shovel up the shit. The band dispersed, the gear was put in temporary storage in an aircraft hangar out on the flat. The shit was shoveled up, and on the evening of the following day, the pair of us sat in the airport lounge as the planes crisscrossed like slow-moving darts over the Rockies, nervously awaiting the red-eye back to New York. "Do you think he'll be all right?" "Who, Keith? How the fuck should I know?" Somewhere in the innermost recesses of his baggage trunk, Stefano had turned up a 3-piece charcoal pinstripe suit that long ago had been made by a Savile Row tailor. Draped in this sartorial curio, with what looked like an MCC tie dangling from his throat, and with the satchel containing $200,000 worth of takings from the tour still wedged under one elbow, he cut an incongruous figure. The departure lounge was full of Eagle Scouts off to summer camp in the Great Lakes. Beyond the orange light of the aerodrome, the long, low ridge of the mountains receded into dusk. "Is anyone coming out to be with him?" "I've heard that burglar's dog he went to the NME Awards with," Stefano said, as if this were the greatest favour anyone had ever done anyone else in the otherwise venal world of popular music. "Trixie or Pixie or whatever her fucking name is. She said she'd fly over if I gave her the cost of the air ticket. Give him a hand job or something. Cheer the fucker up a bit." "Jesus," he said unexpectedly. "You heard from Don?" The Eagle Scouts were gangling, crop-haired teenagers from the Midwest with extraordinarily bony knees. Hunched over the maps they carried with them at all times, heads bobbing in unison, they looked like flamingos gathered at the water's edge. "No, neither have I. I mean, not since we put the original call in. Jesus," Stefano said again, one red-rimmed eye moving from the thronged hallway of the departure lounge to the shadowlands beyond. "Just look at those fucking mountains. Imagine being up there at this time of night with some fucking Timberwolf or whatever after your arse." I saw now that, curiously, all the pent-up passion he'd carried around with him for the past 3 weeks had been released. There was no doubt about it. Keith's putting himself in a coma had done Stefano good. We sat companionably in the big metal chairs for a while, watching the Eagle Scouts and the mysterious old women with nutcracker faces waiting for late-night flights to Oregon and Seattle, as the janitors came round scooping up fallen Coke cans, an irony-primed transistor radio playing Fleetwood Mac singing "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow," and the planes tracked back and forth through the ripening sky. "Is Keith, insured for this?" "He's insured for the tour," Stefano said, with rather more nonchalance than might ordinarily have been warranted by the situation in which we found ourselves. "As for what happens afterwards, do you know, Nick, I really couldn't say." At the office on 10th, there was a drift of unopened mail on the carpet together with a pile of fast food delivery firm flyers and half a dozen prostitutes' cards. It was that kind of joint. As I went through the letters, totting up the record of our obligations and outgoings over the past month, Stefano established himself at the big desk overlooking the smeary window with its patina of snuffed-out insect life and sat musing on his opportunities. "Christ, the hookers they got in New York these days. Will you listen to this? New York girl in town seeks afternoon playmates, all major credit cards accepted." But there was no solace in the prostitute's cards. A minute later he said, "How much do you reckon we owe?" $11,000 maybe. There's probably some more bills to come in." "The fuck? I mean, Nick, really, what on earth did we spend all that on?" At times of momentary irritation, Stefano's upbringing leapt back to the surface of his personality. Just now he sounded like a member of White's Club querying his bar bill. "Cab fares, hospitality, that dinner you gave for the people at Rolling Stone, those chauffeur-driven limos you sent up to Albany you wouldn't even tell me about."